The great throne room of the Veltharian Empire stretched for hundreds of meters under a crystal dome that showed the stars. Emperor Zakthul sat on his golden seat, his purple skin gleaming in the light from 3 suns. His 4 arms moved as he spoke to the gathered nobles and generals. 200 star systems bow to our might, he said, his voice echoing through the hall. 50 different species serve our empire. We are the greatest power this galaxy has ever known. General Mindar stepped forward. His tall frame cast a shadow on the polished floor. Like all Veltharians, he had 4 arms and stood 3 meters tall. His warrior marks covered his neck and showed his many victories. My Emperor, our scouts have found a new world, Mindar said. The 3rd planet in a small system. The beings there call it Earth. Emperor Zakthul leaned forward. His golden eyes sparkled with interest. Tell me about these beings. They are called humans, my lord. They have only 2 arms and 2 legs. They are small, maybe 2 meters tall at most. Their technology is very basic. They still burn fossil fuels for energy. They fight each other with metal projectiles. The Emperor laughed. The sound filled the throne room. Metal projectiles? How amusing! What else? They have no space fleet, my lord. No energy shields, no plasma weapons. They cannot even travel between their own planet's moon without great effort. It takes them days to cross their small world. Another general spoke up. My lord, they have divided themselves into many small groups. They fight each other constantly. They cannot work together even to defend their own planet. Emperor Zakthul stood up. His royal robes flowed around him like liquid gold. Perfect. Another easy conquest for our empire. How long will it take to bring them under our control? General Mindar bowed. No more than 1 solar cycle, my Emperor. Perhaps less. We could conquer them with a single battle group. Excellent. But first, bring me some of these humans. I want to see what kind of beings we will be ruling. 3 months later, Veltharian ships appeared in Earth's skies. They were not the massive war fleets that had conquered other worlds. These were simple scout ships and raiding vessels. The Veltharians saw no need for their full military power against such weak beings. The raids were quick and clean. Small human settlements disappeared overnight. The ships took people, technology samples, and information. Most humans never even saw what took them. Captain Lee Jin-ho was working late at a research station in South Korea when the aliens came. One moment he was looking at computer data. The next moment, a bright light filled the room. When he woke up, he was in a small metal cell aboard a Veltharian ship. The Veltharians studied their human prisoners carefully. They tested human strength, speed, and intelligence. They examined human technology and weapons. They recorded human languages and behavior. The creatures are weak, reported Chief Scientist Veltar to General Mindar. Their bones break easily. They cannot lift heavy objects. They tire quickly. They need to breathe oxygen constantly. What about their minds? Mindar asked. Simple but functional. They can solve basic problems. They learn slowly. They become emotional and make poor decisions. They are no threat to our forces. General Mindar nodded. Good. What about their technology? Primitive metal working, basic electronics, simple chemical rockets. Their most powerful weapons could not even scratch our shields. Their computers are slower than our personal devices. Captain Lee Jin-ho listened from his cell. He had learned some of the Veltharian language during his weeks as a prisoner. The aliens did not know he could understand them. One day, a Veltharian guard came to his cell. The alien's 4 arms moved as he checked his equipment. You understand our words, human, the guard said in broken English. I have heard you listening. Lee Jin-ho said nothing. It does not matter, the guard continued. Soon your whole species will serve the Empire. Your world has nothing we fear. You do not know humans very well. Li Jinho said quietly. The guard laughed. We know enough. You are weak. You fight each other. You have no unity. You will surrender quickly when our real fleet arrives. Humans are good at surprises, Li Jinho replied. What surprises can such weak beings offer? Your weapons cannot hurt us. Your ships cannot catch us. Your governments will give up rather than see their cities burn. Li Jinho looked at the alien through the bars of his cell. That is what you think. But humans are not like other species you have conquered. How are you different? We do not give up, ever. And we learn very fast. The guard walked away, still laughing. In the throne room of the Veltharian Empire, Emperor Zakthul received the final reports. His generals and scientists had finished studying the humans. They are perfect slaves, reported General Mindar, strong enough to do useful work but too weak to rebel. Their world has good resources. Their population is large enough to be valuable. And they will surrender quickly? Without question, my lord. One demonstration of our power and their leaders will give up. They value their lives too much to fight a war they cannot win. Emperor Zakthul smiled. His golden teeth gleamed. Then we shall give them that demonstration. Prepare the invasion fleet. Not our full strength. We do not need it. Send enough ships to take control quickly, but save our main forces for worthier enemies. How many ships, my lord? 50 battlecruisers, 100 support vessels. That should be more than enough to handle one primitive world. The courtiers and generals bowed. They began making plans for another easy conquest. Another weak species would soon serve the Veltharian Empire. None of them noticed the small escape pod that launched from one of the scout ships returning to Earth. None of them knew that Captain Li Jinho had learned much about Veltharian technology during his imprisonment. And none of them understood what humans could do when they were fighting for their home. The Veltharian fleet arrived at Earth like a storm of metal and fire. 50 massive ships appeared in the sky above major cities around the world. Each ship was the size of a mountain, casting shadows that covered entire neighborhoods. General Mindar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking down at the blue and green world below. Begin the demonstration, he ordered. Bright beams of energy lanced down from the alien ships. In seconds, military bases vanished in clouds of smoke and flame. Airports became craters. Navy ships turned to steam. The humans' most powerful weapons had no effect on the alien shields. Commander Park So-young watched from a bunker deep under Seoul as the aliens destroyed everything above ground. She was a small woman, but her voice was steady as she spoke into her radio. All units, execute Plan Omega. Repeat, execute Plan Omega immediately. Around the world, similar orders went out. Military commanders who were still alive gave the same command. Government leaders made public announcements of surrender while secretly activating hidden networks. On his flagship, General Mindar received reports from his captains. The humans have stopped fighting, sir. Their military forces are withdrawing. Their leaders are requesting terms of surrender. Mindar nodded with satisfaction. As expected, land the occupation forces. Begin establishing control centers in their major population areas. Veltharian troops poured down from the ships in transport craft. They moved quickly to take control of government buildings, communication centers, and resource facilities. The humans they encountered offered no resistance. Dr. Sarah Chen crouched in an abandoned subway tunnel under New York City. Around her, dozens of other scientists and engineers worked by the light of battery-powered lamps. They had been preparing for this moment ever since Captain Li Jinho had returned to Earth with his intelligence about the aliens. The energy readings are consistent with Li's reports, she whispered to her team. Their shields work exactly like he described. And look at this. She held up a piece of metal that had fallen from a damaged alien transport. Their hull material is some kind of polymer composite, strong but not indestructible. We can work with this. Above ground, Veltharian soldiers set up checkpoints and began cataloging human resources. They worked efficiently, following procedures that had worked on dozens of other conquered worlds. Captain Thulvan reported to his superior. "The population centers are secure, sir. The humans are compliant. Some are even helping us identify their own resource locations." What the Veltharians did not see were the small groups of humans moving through service tunnels, abandoned buildings, and underground passages that honeycomb every major city. They did not notice the old mining tunnels, subway systems, and sewer networks that had been quietly modified over the past months. In a hidden facility under the Rocky Mountains, Captain Lee Jin-ho met with military leaders from around the world via encrypted communication links. "The aliens rely heavily on automated systems," he explained. "Their scanners follow predictable patterns. They expect populations to remain in place. They have never faced an enemy that could move unseen through their own territory." Commander Park So-young's voice came through the speakers. "Our people are in position worldwide. The aliens think they control our cities, but they only control the parts they can see." 3 days after the invasion, the first human strike teams went into action. Small groups emerged from hidden passages to attack isolated Veltharian patrols. They used weapons taken from alien soldiers, turned against their former owners. The attacks were swift and precise. Humans would appear, strike, and vanish back into the underground networks before reinforcements could arrive. Each attack taught them more about alien equipment and tactics. Dr. Chen's team made their first breakthrough on the 4th day. Working with salvaged alien technology, they managed to create a device that could disrupt Veltharian energy shields for short periods. "It only works for 30 seconds, she reported to the resistance leaders. "But that's enough." The news spread through the hidden networks. Within hours, similar devices were being built in secret workshops around the world. Humans proved remarkably good at copying and improving alien technology. Engineer Kim Min-jun worked in a converted mine shaft in South Korea, surrounded by pieces of captured alien equipment. His team had been taking apart Veltharian weapons and communication devices. "Their technology is advanced, but it's not magic," he told his assistants. "It follows rules, and if it follows rules, we can learn those rules." By the end of the first week, human resistance cells were using modified alien weapons that worked better than the originals. They had learned to jam alien communications and track alien movements. General Mindar received increasingly disturbing reports from his ground commanders. "Sir, we've lost contact with 12 patrol units in the past 2 days. Security cameras show our troops entering certain areas, but they never come out. Equipment is disappearing, sir. Weapons, vehicles, even communication gear. Our supply depots are being raided, but we never see the attackers. The humans are using our own weapons against us, sir, but their versions seem to work differently. Better somehow." Mindar studied the reports with growing concern. This was not how conquests were supposed to work. Defeated populations were supposed to remain defeated. "Double the patrols," he ordered. "Institute a curfew. Begin comprehensive scans of all areas under our control." But the Veltharians found it impossible to scan every tunnel, every basement, every abandoned building. Earth's cities had been built over centuries, creating vast networks of hidden spaces that the aliens had never imagined. Commander Park So-young led a team through the Seoul subway system, moving toward a major alien supply depot. Her soldiers carried weapons that looked like Veltharian plasma rifles, but had been modified with human engineering. "Remember," she whispered to her team, "we hit fast, take what we need, and disappear. No unnecessary risks." The attack lasted exactly 4 minutes. When the Veltharian reinforcements arrived, they found an empty depot and no trace of the raiders. Security recordings showed only brief flashes of movement before the cameras went dark. Similar scenes played out around the world. The aliens had expected to face governments and armies. Instead, they found themselves fighting ghosts who struck without warning and vanished without trace. Captain Lee Jin-ho smiled grimly as he read the latest intelligence reports. The Veltharians were starting to realize that conquering Earth would not be as easy as they had thought. They wanted to fight humans, he said to his staff. Now they're learning what that really means. Deep beneath London, Dr. Sarah Chen's laboratory hummed with activity. What had started as a small team hiding in subway tunnels had grown into a major research facility. Captured alien technology filled every available space. "We've done it," she announced to her team, holding up a device that looked like a cross between human electronics and alien crystal matrices. Fully functional energy shields, but running on our power systems. Engineer Kim Min-jun examined the device through a video link from his own hidden facility in Seoul. "How did you solve the power consumption problem?" "We didn't try to copy their approach," Sarah explained. "We figured out what the shields actually need to do, then built our own way to do it. Turns out, human engineering principles work better than alien ones for some applications." Around the world, human scientists and engineers were making similar discoveries. Working in hidden facilities, they were not just copying alien technology, they were improving it. The Veltharians had built their empire by conquering other species and taking their knowledge. But they had never faced a species that could learn faster than they could. In her command bunker under Seoul, Commander Park So-young studied intelligence reports from resistance cells worldwide. 3 weeks after the invasion, the pattern was clear. "They're losing ground," she told her staff. "Literally losing ground. Every day we take back more territory." Major Thompson from London confirmed the assessment. "The aliens are consolidating into heavily defended positions. They're abandoning outlying areas rather than lose more troops to our raids." Captain Rodriguez from Mexico City added, "Our engineering teams have reverse-engineered their transport vehicles. We're building our own now, but better, faster, more maneuverable, and harder to detect." The humans had discovered something the Veltharians never expected. Human creativity was not limited by existing technology. Where aliens saw established patterns that must be followed, humans saw problems that could be solved in new ways. In his command ship, General Mindar faced a crisis. His carefully planned conquest was turning into a nightmare. "Sir, we've lost effective control of 60% of the target areas," reported his aide. "Our forces are under constant attack. Equipment losses are exceeding replacement rates." Mindar's 4 arms moved in agitation. "How is this possible? The humans have no military training, no advanced weapons, no space fleet." "Sir, they're using our own technology against us. But somehow they've made it work better than ours does." A communication came in from one of the ground commanders. "General, we need immediate reinforcements. The humans just captured an entire supply convoy. They're using modified versions of our own vehicles." Mindar authorized the transmission. "How did they modify Veltharian technology? Our systems are protected against tampering." "Sir, they didn't tamper with our systems. They built completely new ones that do the same job, only better. I'm looking at a human transport that's faster and more efficient than anything in our fleet." The general's golden eyes narrowed. "Impossible." "Sir, I'm sending you the technical specifications. You need to see this." When the data arrived, Mindar stared at it in disbelief. The humans had taken basic Veltharian concepts and rebuilt them from the ground up. The results were elegant, efficient, and superior to the original designs. Engineer Kim Min-jun worked with his team to install new weapons on a captured Veltharian aircraft. They had stripped out the alien control systems and replaced them with human technology. "The aliens build everything according to rigid patterns," he explained to his assistants. "They never ask if there's a better way. But humans always ask that question." The modified aircraft lifted silently into the air. Where the original had been loud and obvious, the human version was nearly invisible to sensors. Where the alien design had been limited by preset functions, the human version could adapt, to any situation. Dr. Chen's voice came over the communication system. Kim, are you seeing the same thing we're seeing here in London? What's that, Sarah? The aliens aren't innovating. They're not adapting to our tactics. They're just doing the same things over and over, even when those things don't work. Kim nodded as he watched his modified aircraft perform maneuvers that no Veltharian pilot would attempt. They're following a script. They conquered other worlds using the same methods, so they think those methods will work here too. But humans don't follow scripts, Sarah replied. We write new ones. Commander Park So-young received reports that confirmed what the scientists were discovering. The Veltharians were predictable. They responded to attacks in the same ways every time. They set up defenses using the same patterns. They moved supplies along the same routes. They're like a computer program, she told her staff. Very sophisticated, but still just following instructions. We can predict what they'll do because they always do the same things. Major Liu from Beijing disagreed. Commander, surely they'll adapt eventually. They must see that their current tactics aren't working. That's what I thought too, Park replied. But it's been 3 weeks and they haven't changed anything. I think they can't adapt. Their whole civilization is based on following established patterns. The breakthrough came when human forces simultaneously attacked 12 major Veltharian bases around the world. The attacks were perfectly coordinated, using the aliens' own communication network to synchronize the timing. Every base fell within 1 hour. The Veltharians lost thousands of troops and most of their heavy equipment on Earth. More importantly, they lost their image of invincibility. General Mindar was forced to send an emergency message to Emperor Zakthul. My Emperor, I must request immediate reinforcements. The human resistance is stronger than anticipated. They have acquired significant military capabilities. The reply came quickly. Emperor Zakthul's voice was cold with displeasure. How have primitive beings acquired military capabilities, General? You assured me they had no advanced technology. They took our technology, my lord, and somehow made it better. Impossible. My Emperor, I am sending you technical specifications. The humans have developed weapons and vehicles that exceed our own capabilities. There was a long silence before the Emperor responded. How many reinforcements do you require? At least 3 full battle fleets, my lord. The humans are not behaving like any species we have conquered before. Another pause. 3 fleets? To subdue one primitive world? Yes, my Emperor. I fear we may have underestimated these humans. In the hidden command center under Seoul, Commander Park So-young smiled as she listened to the intercepted communication. They're finally starting to understand, she told her staff. But it's too late. We're not the same species they first attacked. We've learned from them, adapted their technology, and made it our own. Captain Lee Jin-ho joined the conversation via secure link. Commander, I'm receiving reports that other species within the Veltharian Empire are asking for information about our resistance methods. Park's smile widened. Are they now? I think the Veltharians are about to discover that conquering Earth was the worst mistake they ever made. The attack came at dawn on a Tuesday. From hidden bases across 6 continents, human forces launched the largest coordinated offensive in Earth's history. But these were not the same humans the Veltharians had first encountered. Commander Park So-young, now promoted to general, led the assault from her command center in Seoul. Around her, screens showed battles happening simultaneously in London, New York, Cairo, Sydney, and dozens of other cities. All units, this is Liberation Command, she spoke into her communicator. Execute Operation Homecoming. Show them what humans can do when we stop playing defense. In London, Dr. Sarah Chen watched as human fighters soared through the sky in aircraft that outperformed anything the Veltharians had. Her team had spent 2 months perfecting the designs, combining alien technology with human innovation. "Their ships are faster," she reported to her pilot, Major Williams, "but ours are smarter. Use the adaptive targeting system." Major Williams grinned as his fighter's AI system locked on to 3 Veltharian aircraft at once. The missiles he fired were heat-seeking, but they also used captured alien sensor technology to track their targets through energy shields. "Splash 3, he reported as the enemy fighters exploded. "These hybrid systems are incredible, Doc. We're not just fighting them anymore. We're outflying them." Across the world, similar scenes played out. Human forces had spent months studying every aspect of Veltharian technology and tactics. Now they were using that knowledge to devastating effect. Engineer Kim Min-jun commanded a tank unit advancing through Seoul. His vehicles looked like standard human designs, but they used captured alien power systems and weapons. More importantly, they were operated by humans who had learned to think like their enemy. "Veltharian Defensive Pattern Alpha 7, he called to his crew as they approached an alien stronghold. "They'll retreat to the central building and try to call for air support." "How do you know that, sir?" asked his gunner. "Because it's what they always do. They follow the same patterns on every world they conquer. But we've studied those patterns." The tank's main gun fired a plasma bolt that punched through the Veltharian fortifications like paper. Kim's prediction proved correct. The alien defenders fell back exactly as he had expected. On his flagship above Earth, General Mindar watched in horror as his forces were systematically destroyed. The humans were not just fighting back, they were winning. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his staff. "These are the same primitive beings we conquered just months ago." "Sir," his aide replied nervously, "they're not the same. They've learned from us. All of our technology, all of our tactics, they know everything." "But they're using it better than we do," added the chief science officer. "Somehow, they've improved our own designs." Mindar's 4 arms trembled with rage. "Then we need more ships. Contact the Emperor. Tell him to send the entire Third Fleet." "Sir, I've been monitoring communications from other worlds in our empire. There's a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Rebellions, sir. Species we conquered years ago are rising up. They're using human tactical manuals. Somehow the humans have been teaching them." The aide brought up a holographic display showing the Veltharian Empire. Red dots appeared on world after world, indicating active rebellions. "The Zephyrians on Kepler 442b have overrun 3 of our garrison bases. The Crystalline Collective has declared independence. The aquatic peoples of Ross 128 have captured our entire fleet in their system." General Mindar stared at the display. "How did they learn human tactics?" "The humans have been broadcasting instruction manuals, sir, technical specifications, tactical guides, political theory. They're sharing everything they've learned about fighting us." On Earth, Captain Lee Jin-ho worked with alien refugees who had escaped from Veltharian prison worlds. His facility had become a training center where humans taught other species how to fight for their freedom. "The key is adaptability," he explained to a group of reptilian Zephyrians via holographic communication. "The Veltharians cannot change their methods. They will always use the same attack patterns, the same defensive positions. Once you learn these patterns, you can defeat them." A Zephyrian commander raised a clawed hand. "But, human friend, we do not have your advanced technology." Lee smiled. "You don't need it. We're sending you the specifications for everything we've developed. Build what you can, adapt the rest. Remember, human technology started more primitive than yours. It's not about having the best equipment. It's about using your equipment in ways your enemy doesn't expect." Dr. Sarah Chen's team had established manufacturing facilities in hidden locations around the world. They were producing not just weapons for human forces, but instruction guides for alien rebels across the galaxy. Every species is different, she told her engineers as they prepared another data transmission. What works for us might not work for them, but the principles are universal. Study your enemy, learn from their mistakes, and always be ready to try something new. The information flowed out from Earth through captured Veltharian communication networks. Tactical manuals, technical specifications, and political theories spread from world to world faster than the Empire could stop them. Emperor Zakthul faced a crisis unlike anything in Veltharian history. His empire, built over centuries, was collapsing in months. 67 worlds in open rebellion, reported his chief minister. Our fleets are stretched thin, trying to maintain control. What about Earth? Has General Mindar completed the conquest? No, my emperor. In fact, he's requesting additional reinforcements. The humans have evolved. Evolved? Explain. They have developed technology superior to our own, my lord. Their tactical capabilities exceed those of any species we have encountered. Worse, they are sharing this knowledge with every rebel group in the Empire. Emperor Zakthul rose from his throne, his golden robes rustling. One primitive world cannot threaten an empire that spans 200 star systems. My emperor, it is no longer one world. The humans have created an alliance. Species we conquered decades ago are now fighting alongside human advisors. They have combined the knowledge of dozens of civilizations. The Emperor's golden eyes blazed with fury. Then we will destroy them all. Recall every ship from the outer territories. Assemble the entire Imperial fleet. We will burn Earth to ashes and make an example that the galaxy will never forget. My lord, if we withdraw our fleets from the outer territories, we will lose control of the frontier worlds. Better to lose the frontier than lose the Empire. Bring me every ship we have. We end this now. On Earth, General Park So-young received intelligence reports about the massive Veltharian fleet assembling for a final assault. They're bringing everything, she told her command staff. Every ship in their empire is heading for our solar system. How many ships, General? Asked Major Thompson. Over 3,000. According to our sources, everything from battle cruisers to supply vessels. Captain Lee Jin-ho leaned forward. General, I think this might be exactly what we've been waiting for. How do you mean? They're pulling ships from every world they control. That means every rebel group in the Empire will face reduced opposition. If we can hold them here long enough... General Park smiled grimly. The entire Veltharian Empire comes apart at the seams. I see your point, Captain. We just need to survive the biggest space battle in galactic history. Dr. Chen's voice came over the communication system. General, I have good news. We've been working on something special for just this occasion. The Veltharian Imperial fleet filled space around Earth like a metal storm. 3,000 ships of every size and class hung in the darkness, their weapons charged and ready. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Emperor Zakthul stood on the bridge of his personal dreadnought, staring down at the blue world that had caused so much trouble. His 4 arms gestured angrily as he spoke to his admirals. This ends today. We will destroy their orbital facilities, burn their cities, and show the galaxy what happens to those who defy the Veltharian Empire. Admiral Kethaval bowed nervously. My Emperor, our scouts report unusual activity. The humans appear to have developed space-capable vessels. Impossible. They had no space fleet when we first arrived. Yes, my lord, but they have been learning. The Emperor's golden eyes narrowed. Show me. The tactical display revealed dozens of ships rising from Earth's surface. They were clearly built using Veltharian technology, but their designs were strange, asymmetrical, and unpredictable. Humans, the Emperor spat. Even in space they cannot build properly. Their ships look like the work of children. What the Emperor did not know was that the human ships had been designed by Dr. Sarah Chen's team using principles no Veltharian engineer had ever considered. Where alien ships were built for intimidation and overwhelming force, human vessels were built for speed, adaptability, and surprise. Admiral Park So-young commanded the human fleet from the bridge of Earth's first battleship. Around her, screens showed the massive enemy force. "All ships, this is Freedom 1, she transmitted to her fleet. "Remember, we don't need to defeat them. We just need to hold them here long enough for our allies to do their work." Captain Lee Jin-ho, now commanding his own cruiser, responded from across the formation. "Admiral, I'm receiving reports from rebel fleets throughout the Empire. They're beginning their attacks now." "Excellent. Time to show these invaders what happens when you underestimate humanity." The battle began when the Veltharian fleet fired a massive barrage at the human ships. Energy beams that could destroy planets lanced through space toward the small Earth fleet. But the human ships did something no Veltharian admiral expected. They scattered in all directions, moving in patterns that seemed random but were actually carefully coordinated. "Impossible!" shouted Emperor Zak Thul. "How are they moving so fast?" Dr. Chen's voice came over the communication system from her science vessel. "Because we built our ships right, you oversized bully. Engines optimized for acceleration, not intimidation. Hulls designed for maneuverability, not impressive looks." The human ships darted between the massive Veltharian vessels like insects around giants. Their weapons were smaller, but they struck with surgical precision at weak points the aliens had never bothered to protect. Engineer Kim Min-jun commanded a squadron of fighters that swarmed around a Veltharian battlecruiser. "Target their sensor arrays," he ordered his pilots. "Blind them first, then go for the engines." The human fighters moved in coordinated patterns that the Veltharian gunners couldn't track. Within minutes, the massive enemy ship was disabled, drifting helplessly in space. Similar scenes played out across the battlefield. The humans were vastly outnumbered, but they fought with creativity and tactics the Veltharians had never encountered. On his flagship, General Mindar received increasingly desperate reports from his ship commanders. "Sir, they're not fighting like any fleet we've faced before. They don't form battle lines or follow standard tactical doctrine. They're everywhere at once, sir. We can't predict where they'll attack next." "Sir, they're using our own communication frequencies to coordinate attacks. How did they break our encryption?" Mindar's aide provided the answer. "Sir, they've had months to study our systems. They know our technology better than we do." While the space battle raged, reports flooded in from across the Veltharian Empire. With most of their fleets committed to the attack on Earth, the aliens could not defend their other territories. Captain Lee Jin-ho coordinated with rebel commanders throughout the galaxy. "The Crystalline Collective has taken control of the Vega system," he reported to Admiral Park. "The Zephyrians have liberated 4 worlds in the Cygnus sector. The aquatic peoples have destroyed the Veltharian fleet at Ross 128. "How many worlds have declared independence?" Park asked. "Over 150, Admiral, and the number is growing every hour." Emperor Zak Thul received the same reports. His empire was dissolving while he watched, crumbling faster than his forces could respond. "This is impossible," he raged. "A single primitive world cannot destroy an empire that has lasted 1,000 years." Admiral Kethaval approached cautiously. "My Emperor, perhaps we should consider negotiations." "Negotiations? With primitives?" "Sir, they are no longer primitive. Their technology exceeds our own in many areas. Their tactics are superior to ours, and they have united half the galaxy against us." The Emperor raised his 4 arms in fury, but before he could respond, alarms began sounding throughout his ship. "Emergency alert," announced the ship's computer. "Multiple hull breaches detected, engine systems failing." "What happened?" the Emperor demanded. "Sir," reported a panicked officer, "a single human ship just flew through our shield grid and fired precision shots at our critical systems. We're dead in space." On the bridge of her small but deadly cruiser, Admiral Parks smiled as she watched the massive enemy flagship drift helplessly. Her ship had been designed specifically for this mission. Fast enough to penetrate enemy defenses, precise enough to disable key systems without destroying the ship. Emperor Zakthul, she transmitted on an open channel. This is Admiral Park So-young of the Earth Liberation Fleet. I believe you wanted to negotiate. The reply came after a long pause. The Emperor's voice was filled with defeat. What? What are your terms? Complete withdrawal from Earth, independence for all worlds in your empire, dismantling of your military forces, reparations for the worlds you have enslaved. And if I refuse? Park gestured to the tactical display, which showed Veltharian ships being systematically disabled throughout the solar system. Then we finish what you started. Your choice. The Emperor was silent for several minutes. Finally, he spoke. I accept your terms. Wise choice. Captain Lee, please escort the Emperor's ship to the negotiation station. The formal surrender took place on a neutral space station that the humans had constructed from captured Veltharian materials. Representatives from dozens of liberated worlds attended the ceremony. Emperor Zakthul, his golden robes now seeming dull and worn, signed the documents that ended his empire. As he did, he looked up at Admiral Park. How? He asked quietly. How did a species we considered primitive destroy everything we built? Park considered the question carefully. Because you never understood what made us dangerous. It wasn't our technology or our numbers. It was our willingness to learn, to adapt, to fight for what we believed in. You tried to conquer us, but all you did was teach us how to be better than you. The Emperor nodded slowly. And now? Now we help build something better. A galaxy where species work together instead of enslaving each other. Where knowledge is shared instead of hoarded. Where freedom matters more than power. Years later, the former Veltharian capital world had become a monument to the dangers of tyranny. The great palace, where Emperor Zakthul had once planned conquest, now housed a museum dedicated to the species his empire had oppressed. General Li Jin-ho, now director of the Galactic Peace Academy, often brought students to see the exhibits. He would stand before the statue of the fallen emperor and speak to young beings from dozens of different worlds. Remember this, he would tell them. The greatest empires can fall when they forget that their subjects are people, not property. The strongest weapons cannot defeat an idea whose time has come. And never ever underestimate someone just because they seem different from you. Earth had become the center of a new galactic civilization based on cooperation and freedom. The species that had once seemed primitive now served as teachers and peacekeepers, sharing the lessons they had learned about defeating tyranny. And in the museums and schools of 100 worlds, children learned the story of how humanity had saved the galaxy by being exactly what their enemies thought they were not: adaptable, creative, and utterly unwilling to surrender their freedom.